So, hello, welcome back to another episode of Self-Development with Tactics Podcast, and yet again with a fucking video, because it works. Now, for whatever reason, might be due to my computer resetting itself quite often lately, for whatever reason, or rebooting out of nowhere, having crashes, blue screens, and shit like that. Anyway, we're going through the... No, because my little thing tells me The Courage to Be Happy by Ichiro Kishimi, I guess, and Fumitake Koga. But this is not what we're going through. We're going through The Practice by Seth Godin, a book around creative work, and everything around that quite. It is great. I enjoy it. I like it. I think in general that when you are a creative, going through a bit of what Seth Godin is talking about and so on and so forth might be a good idea. It takes you 10 minutes or something to grasp whether you like the stuff or you don't. I'm starting from the bottom because I do not really know where I've stopped the last time, so I'm doing this. This little corner of this little industry was the place he chose to make a difference. The change we seek to make can feel small, indeed, but it all ripples. To be willing to make a difference, I think, is a great goal whenever you're, trying to sell something, whether it is a product or a service, or you're having your YouTube channel, you're having your whatever. I think it is great to have that bigger goal. And so, of course it to some degree it is the same as growing. Like, I want to have more views, I want to have more subscribers, but in the end it does not lead to just having more subscribers or just having those views, but indeed making a difference, and for even more people, and maybe even better, because you're able to sustain yourself and make more money that then can help you make more differences or make a bigger difference, because you then have better or more of the ability of doing so, if this makes any sense. The point is not to copy, but in fact to avoid copying. Our best commercial work reminds people of what they have seen before. This renowned screenwriter and showrunner has seen more movies than you have. His understanding of what's come before gives him the platform and the standing to help figure out what is going to come next. Yes, and I guess this is a great example of why very often it just makes sense to listen to the professional. The professional has done it quite endlessly, maybe hopefully just 8 hours a day for the past whatever years. And so when you're working with a professional, whatever field it might be, if it is an architect, if it is a designer, if it is whoever, it just makes sense to listen to this person and listen to the suggestions of this person. Of course, some people might have a bit of a grasp when it comes to aesthetics and whatever, but there might be certain reasons why this person is doing something in a certain way. So you can listen, yes, but of course you can also have your preferences, and you can also just quote unquote listen to your taste and bring in your taste. This is fine, but those people know their shit, period. People around the world eat what they eat because of community standards and the way culture is inculcated or something into what they do. Expectations matter a great deal. When you have no real choice but to grow up doing something or eating something or singing something, then you do it. Is culture able to teach us a process to make art? Isn't it possible for the culture to normalize goal setting and passion and curiosity and the ability to persuade? Well, might be the case, probably is the case. Tech people to make, and kind of reminds me of parenting and my opinion of parenting, and it might be a bit like, okay, I'm 21 now, I don't have children, But still, I think it is valid for me to have an opinion on parenting because I have been parented. So I can talk about what I think was, maybe useful and what would have been more useful and whatnot. And what I in general think is parents do have such a lot of leverage over their children, and they can make them into such great human beings, and might actually also be an amazing thing to see, your own children being amazing people, being nice, being whatever you want to see in them, quite. But parents just have, just so much leverage, and the ability to change their children so much. Teach people to make commitments, to overcome fear, to deal transparently, to initiate and to plan a course of action. Teach people to desire lifelong learning, to express themselves and to innovate. Outsource many of the things you are not very good at, so that you can simulate a level of sanity and professionalism to the outside world. Choose the skill we are going to assert to the outside world. Even if it comes at the cost of neglecting some of the work you used to do, that in the end was simply a distraction. And this is a great point. It kind of also, it goes a bit into the direction of, I am busy and this is good. But busy is not being productive. Busy is just being busy. Busy is doing things that, of course, these things maybe should be done as well. But I guess very often, it's just a distraction as well. Being busy is also being distracted by whatever, to some degree, sometimes. So, great advice actually, outsourcing, delegating. When you're surrounded by respected peers, it is more likely you'll do the work you set out to do. Yes. And this is also a big reason, I think, why bosses and or leaders and whatnot, they should show respect. And I have heard that in a Blink list summary of, is it, I think, 22 rules of leading or something? I don't know, but might also be something different. I don't know, but it's showing respect to get respect. And it makes sense. When you respect somebody and when this person notices that you respect this person, then, or him or her, then when I'm putting myself into these shoes, I also feel like, okay, this person is respecting me. This person probably is also trusting me. And I don't want to lose this respect. I don't want to lose this trust. So I'm trying my hardest to do good work, first of all, and second of all, to also be respectful. And respectful doesn't have to be about this is my holy boss or this is my holy employee. Maybe it's just about, respecting boundaries, respecting that this person is working for me, yes, but it's also having a life, and so on and so forth. It is not training hours or DNA that changes outcomes. It is our belief in possibility and the support of the culture around us. Creators have a better attitude because they have figured out how to trust the process and trust themselves to work with it. People at higher levels of performance don't spend more hours training. Athletes at the highest level had just as many friends and just as normal a life as dedicated swimmers at lower levels. There were two key differences between great competitors and also good ones. Skill. The best swimmers swim differently than the ones who don't perform as well. They do their strokes differently, they do their turns differently. These are learned and practiced skills. And attitude. The best swimmers bring a different attitude to the training. They choose to find delight in the parts that other swimmers avoid, and this is their practice. Skill, yes. There might also be talent to a big degree, and attitude, of course. When I always believe that I'm not good at something, or I never be good at something, and it's never gonna work out and whatever shit, what might that lead to? Might just actually lead to that. On the other hand, when I believe might actually not necessarily be about beliefs, but when I think that I am having a great product, that my content is great and can help somebody and can make a difference, yada, 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 then I might also perform differently. I might also do things differently just because I have subconsciously decided or whatever that it is good, that I'm doing good or whatever. Culture is a conspiracy. It is the voluntary engagement of humans in search of connection and safety. Build streaks, do the work every single day. Blog daily, write daily, ship daily, show up daily. Find your streak and maintain it. Talk about your streaks to keep honest. Seek the smallest viable audience. Make it for someone and not for everyone. Don't talk about your dreams with people who want to protect you from heartache. Don't talk about your dreams with people who want to protect you from heartache. Because they're probably going to say no. Probably going to be like, okay, you should not be doing this. It is a risk. And I guess that very often, well, I don't only guess, but I also think quite sometimes it is about risk. It is about taking risks. It is about, and I'm not talking about risks that should not be taken. I'm talking about risks that this person can deal with. You should never quite take a risk, whether it is investment-wise, if it is about whatever, that you cannot take if things go south. Promise to ship, but don't promise the result. Get a pencil, and that is what's scarce. People who will draw up plans, people who will go first. After that, you can easily get help from one of the people who are good at using sandpaper, now that you've done just about all of the scary bits. Preventing your bad ideas is a useful way forward. They are not your enemy. They are essential steps on a path to better. Disciple difficulty is actually required for us to upskill and move to another level. I don't know. I don't know if every blog post that Seth Godin is writing, if every one of these is a challenge. It might be, because as somebody that ships things, as somebody that, and with shipping, he means quote unquote sending things out. When I'm having this blog post, I'm going to post it. If it is that good or even it is that good, I'm still going to post it. It's not, as he said, it is not necessarily about the result. To a big degree, it is about my streak. And to a big degree, it is about delivering. I'm going to do something. I have promised to do something. I didn't promise that whatever I'm doing is going to be great. I just promised that I'm going to be doing something. But of course, not every episode that I'm recording, and I've been doing it for quite some time, quite daily, not all of it is a challenge. Sometimes you don't have that much time, and sometimes you're willing to take that challenge, and sometimes you're willing to take that whatever. Write more. Write about your audience, your craft, your challenges. Write about the trade-offs, the industry, and your genre. Write about your dreams and your fears. Write about what is funny and what is not. Write to clarify. In brackets, your thoughts. Writing is such a great way to be very clear in your mind. Write to challenge yourself. Write on a regular schedule. Writing puts you on the hook. It's fine to experience regret when you abandon a sunk cost. It's a mistake to stick with one simply because we can't bear the regret. Sunk cost, I wanna clarify that it is something Seth Godin apparently thinks often about, which leads one to think that probably a lot of people have a problem with it and have done it before. Sunk cost, for example, is I have a ticket for the theater, but a friend comes up to me and tells me, okay, let's go to the cinema with me. You're getting a ticket for free and you're coming with me. And you're like, I'm having a ticket for the theater, but I would actually like to go to the cinema more. The film is a better one, the movie is great, the stars are nice, it is a certain event, whatever it might be. But you say, no, I already have this ticket for the theater. So you're going to the theater. This is sunk cost. You have already bought this ticket. You're not getting any additional costs. You're not having any additional costs. There is nothing worse about just going to the cinema with your friend. But just because one thinks, I have already bought these tickets, I can't do X, even though I would like to do X more. Of course, it might be a bit more difficult when it is about, okay, I have already bought those tickets, but a friend asks me to hang out, but of course I can hang out quite every day, and so on and so forth. So there might also be some shades of gray here. It is fine to experience regret when we abandon a sunk cost, and this is something I've already read. He screened his films for a paying audience. 50 cents, $1, it didn't matter, as long as they paid something. He discovered early on that paying audiences cared more and demanded more. Again and again, this work was booed and met with derision. Paying money gave you the right to boo. Inauthentic means effective, reasoned, intentional. It means it is not personal, it is generous. This is the general problem, and there was also a podcast episode by Seth, Godin, the Akimbo podcast, around that. Why being authentic seemed, whatever, to be that important, but it quite isn't. I want to repeat it. Authentic means effective, reasoned, intentional. It means it is not personal, it is generous. You're producing something for a certain amount of people, for a certain kind of people. And, well, sometimes maybe it should not be authentic. Maybe sometimes you're not having a great day. Of course, you have promised to deliver. You have promised to do X. Which doesn't mean that, the quality should really kind of swing, like, I don't know, a sinus curve. But sometimes, I guess, even though you're not in a good mood, you still have to do it. And I think it is professional to sometimes be unauthentic. I would think, and I would say, that a lot of professionals, whether it is a painter, whether it is a writer, whether it is whomever, sometimes they just don't feel like whatever the fuck they are doing. So being authentic would then mean, at least is how I'm thinking about it, that you're not doing it because you don't want to do it, or you're doing it just, tremendously worse. But because we are inauthentic, we still do it, even though we don't want to do it. This is a practice. It has a purpose. I desire to create change. The change is for someone specific. How can I do it better? How can I persist long enough to do it again? Can I persist long enough to do it again? Repeat. Hey, little kids, why are you crying? What is the tantrum for? He has no idea he's a toddler. The toddler is authentic. The hallmark of the unmindful is to react, to lash out, to spend time with no purpose or measure. All of us get an endless supply of ideas, notions, and inklings. Successful people often, without realizing it, ignore the ones that are less likely to quote-unquote work, and instead focus on the projects that are more likely to advance the mission. Sometimes we call this good taste. It's possible to get better at this pre-filtering, by doing it out loud, by writing out the factors that you're seeking, or even by explaining to someone else how your part of the world works. Yes, and I would also say the exposure to those ideas and to those things, maybe also ideas by some other people, by great ideas, might give you an idea of what works, which really speaks for people that have been in a certain industry for quite some time, and seeing them as professionals and seeing them as people that just know their shit. Instead of making paintings to please the skeptics, she made art for people who were enrolled in a path towards the new. What is the headline for for in this magazine ad? What's the save button for on this word processor? What's the airport announcement about security alerts for? What is the letters to the editor section of the newspaper for? What is a large front lawn on a suburban Mac mansion for? If you think hard about these questions, you might discover that a lot of what we build or encounter isn't about what we think it is. Sometimes it's just symbolic. Everything weighs something, everything takes up space. Nothing goes on a lunar module unless there is a really good reason. And that is quite the truth. I think a lunar model or module, might be a space rocket. I'm not sure, but it would be great. Kind of. How is it possible for 3 cowboys to herd 1,000 cattle? Easy, they don't. They herd 10 cattle, and those cattle influence 50 cattle, and those cattle influence the rest. That is the way widespread movement / product / service has changed the world. Find 10 people who care enough about your work to enroll. Better clients demand better work. Better clients want you to push the envelope, win awards, and challenge their expectations. Better clients pay on time. Better clients talk about you and your work. But finding better clients isn't easy, partly because we don't trust ourselves enough to imagine that we deserve them. This is the single best explanation I have ever read in my whole entire life about why clients matter, and especially better clients matter. Why it is important to keep in mind that the clients are a very big variable in the work that you're doing. Going from town to town and working with easy gigs was wasting their effort and hiding their art. What they needed to do was stay in one town, earn fans, play again, earn fans, move to a better venue, and do it again. And now I have encountered something that I've already read, and we are already 22 minutes in, so I'm going to end the episode here. I really do hope that you have been able to see something, to notice something, and I'm hopefully going to see you next time. So, bye-bye.